Hi, I'm Bob Swirsel, and this is my trip to Japan and South Korea. Enjoy! Flying from Seattle to Tokyo, I was visiting Asia for the first time in my life, and that was really exciting. After checking into my hostel in the Taito City ward of Tokyo, I walked around for a bit. I didn't learn how to speak Japanese, and I felt scared to even try to speak it with people in Japan because I felt I was being a burden on them. I did a lot of walking around and taking public transit because I could just rely on navigation and translation apps on my phone. However, at restaurants, I found myself forced to communicate with servers and chefs in Japanese, and I struggled, often resorting to pointing at pictures of menu items and saying "kudasai" while hoping they had the patience to deal with me. Luckily, they did. Riding a bike is my favorite way to explore a new place, so I rented a bike from Bike Tokyo and decided to ride to every subway station on the Yamanote line. Since roads in Japan are designed differently than roads in the United States, I had to alter how I approached intersections, predicted driver behavior, and navigated through traffic. As I did my tour from station to station, I found myself passing through neighborhoods that I would never have seen had I not been on my bike ride. Because of the 17-hour time zone difference, I found myself awake super early, so I did some biking across many bridges until my 24-hour bike rental period was up. I spent the last of my time in Tokyo doing some shopping around Shibuya. My next destination was the city of Hiroshima, and the way to get there was by the Shinkansen or bullet train. Upon my arrival in Hiroshima, I checked into my hotel and experienced the regional version of okonomiyaki, which was satisfying to watch, listen, smell, and eat. I spent the first half of my visit to the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park with tears in my eyes, as I could feel the gravity of the death and destruction that had occurred here back in 1945 when the United States dropped an atomic bomb on the city. Then, I found the Bell of Peace, designed by Masahiko Katori, symbolizing the movement against nuclear weapons and war. Ringing the bell and hearing it rung by different people gave me hope as I walked throughout the memorial, as it showed there are so many of us who want peace across the world. After leaving the memorial, I headed to visit the Schmo House. It was built in 1951 as a community center after Floyd Schmo came from Seattle with volunteers to build houses for residents in both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Using the Google Translate app on my phone, since neither of us could speak each other's language, I spoke with an older man volunteering at Schmo House. We connected by talking about history, including perspectives from each of our countries, and I learned that he actually knew Sadako Sasaki as a child. It was a powerful experience that still resonates with me today. I wanted to explore a historic castle, so I visited Hiroshima Castle, which was built in 1589 CE, mostly destroyed by the atomic bomb, and rebuilt in 1958. Leaving Hiroshima, I took a bullet train to my third and final stop in Japan, Fukuoka. After arriving, I visited another historic castle, this one being Fukuoka Castle, which was built in 1607 CE and has now been converted into part of Ohori Park. I checked out Fukuoka's famous Yeti open-air food stalls that operated like miniature restaurants with seating. The wait time for a seat was too long for my hunger, so I went to a food cart and had some takoyaki with the ingredient mentaiko, which originates from Korea and is a specialty of Fukuoka. Every night during my trip throughout Japan, I stayed in capsule hotels, and the one in Fukuoka was the most minimalistic and futuristic. Heading to Hakata International Port Terminal, the Japan part of my trip was ending. I boarded a ferry on the Camellia Line, and I watched Japan fade into the horizon as my adventure continued across the sea. Hours later, I was excited to see the lights of the city of Busan, welcoming me to South Korea. I went to get some Korean barbecue for dinner. Now, I was tired from traveling, and I didn't realize that the green snap peas I was cooking weren't snap peas but actually hot peppers. After eating a few bites, my mouth felt like it was full of lava, and I had to wait about 10 minutes before I could start eating again. It was delicious though. I traveled to visit Busan's Blue Line Park, formerly the Donghae-Nambu Line Railroad, built in 1935 during the Japanese colonial period, that was transformed into a green railway in 2015 with trails, parks, trains, and cable cars. I first took the Haeundae Beach train along the coast. On the way back, I rode the Haeundae Sky Capsule, a system of cable cars that started operating in 2021 and runs above the beach train. It was so much fun riding in my own cute little cable car. After that fun trip, it was time to head on the bullet train to my next destination in South Korea, Daejeon. When I went on this trip, I was living in Seattle, which just so happens to be a sister city of Daejeon. In Seattle, there is a Daejeon Park, and likewise, in Daejeon, there is a Seattle Park, so of course I had to go there. I next walked to Expo Science Park, built after Daejeon hosted its International Exposition in 1993. Daejeon's equivalent to Seattle's Space Needle is the Hanbeat Tower, or Tower of Great Light, which has a 360-degree observation deck. That evening, I returned to Expo Science Park and enjoyed seeing it all lit up at night. My busy trip continued as I boarded the bullet train for my last destination of the trip, Seoul. After checking into my hotel, I had what was probably the most influential meal of my trip. I had the most delicious gimbap, tteokbokki, and aelmuk, and tteokbokki has become one of my favorite foods as a result. That evening, I walked along Cheonggyecheon stream. This used to be covered by concrete and an elevated freeway in the 1950s, and it was daylighted in the 2000s, opening to the public in 2005. I started out the day with a visit to Cheongdeokgung Palace, built in 1405 CE. The palace has a secret garden tour that I went on, exploring and seeing structures over 4 centuries old. My next destination was Haneul or Sky Park, which involved a hike up many sets of stairs. At the top, I had gorgeous views of Kochia fireweed, silvergrass, and the city itself. Not finished yet with the day, I went to Namsan Park to go up Seoul Tower. I decided to walk some of the trails around Namsan Park at night. It was quite dark, but I was able to see some of the old city walls that were constructed as far back as the 14th century. On my last full day in Seoul, I rented a bike from We Ride Korea to explore the city's trails. It was such a gorgeous sunny day, and I enjoyed every moment of it, taking in the sights of the city around me. On the last day of my trip, I gotta say, I was tired, but luckily all I had to do was get to Incheon Airport. I rode one last bullet train to get to the airport, and I spent my time just thinking about the last 2 weeks. Before I knew it, my plane had left the ground, and I was finally heading home to end my adventure. Arigato and gamsehamada for joining me on this trip to Japan and South Korea. For me, it was really just an incredible experience, and I will have so many memories from this. If you want to see more of my content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.